Hey guys, and welcome to Antimatter Chemistry Progression Log 12. Sorry this was late. I almost forgot. It's been a very strange morning. Anyway, I do actually have some good stuff for you this week. My break was very productive when it came to Minecraft. So I guess we'll start off with the most obvious thing. I finally built the DE energy ball. It's the max size, so it's effectively infinite. You'll also notice that we have a much larger net in than we used to, and that is because I built another reactor. Maybe two. I forget if I had the Neptunium reactor operational for the last one. Um, maybe? I forget. Anyway, we'll go over and talk about all of them, I guess. Uh, so I did end up actually just making the Neptunium reactor passively or actively cooled, but only with water. That way we can use these infinite water sources and stuff. There's probably also a few inside. I don't remember the design. This produces 88,000 RF per tick and a little bit of change on top of that, and it's been running consistently, pretty much all the time. All of the reactors now burn at full burn rate, which is actually the reason why I set up the D energy balls, so we could just turn them on and have them running 24/7 without wasting any power. So all these reactors are the same, but this one over here, which still needs a bunch of decorative work, I just kind of said just build it. This reactor took me 6 hours to build. It's 14 by 14 by 14 core, and it's it's so annoying to build. It took me so long. It took me like pretty much all day. I have another reactor that I want to build. Actually, I want to build a couple more. I might even want to build another one of this one, but I'm gonna have to figure out a smarter way of building them. I can't copy paste them because the water sources count as tile entities, and so does the active coolers, and there are active coolers inside, which means I just can't copy paste the core because they'll be missing coolers and stuff, which means they'll melt down in like 4 seconds flat. This one burns one thorium pellet every 15 seconds and produces 256,000 RF per tick. The design actually should have had it producing 256,400. I made some mistakes while building it. I don't know where or when, and I was not about to tear the whole thing apart to find another 300 RF per tick or so, or 260 or whatever. And it also was a little bit hotter than it should have been, but there was lots of low-hanging fruit. Then I just slapped down a bunch of extra coolers on the top face, and it fixed itself. So we're pretty. This reactor works. It's been running for about a week at this point, a little bit over. I think 8 days. No, no, it's a little under a week actually. I think I built it on Sunday. Um, anyway, so we have a lot of good power now. I still want to build a few more reactors just because if I'm not building the MSR, oh, because you guys will also notice the MSR is gone. I decided to just tear it up completely. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna divide it up into more reactor pits and build some more reactors, and then eventually cap off a little bit sooner. It's kind of sad that I removed the MSR, but unfortunately, that's just how it is. Not every goal is attainable. I mean, or I should say that every goal is obtainable. It's really a question of whether you want to attain it or not. And I had to ask myself the question of is building an MSR, a fully functioning MSR, needed for my enjoyment of the pack? Is it needed for my goal? And the answer was no. And it was actually a little bit detrimental because it kind of felt like I wasn't really doing anything. I didn't really want to get on sometimes because I wasn't building an MSR, and because I finally decided that attempting to build the MSR was taking away from the other things that I wanted to do, and there were plenty of other fun things that I could do without the MSR, that it was better off just not building it, and I decided to tear it down because I didn't really want a half-built setup in the base. I think it would have looked kind of ugly, and I wanted to use the space for something else. Because I am building more SFRs. They're going to be pretty large, and they're going to be extremely hungry because we can afford the thorium. This is burning a pellet every 15 seconds, and we are going up on thorium over as a general rule, a trend, I should say. We also and we are I upgraded from 2 quarries to 8. As one thing I want to do is that we have to do for when it comes to the singularities. Most of the elements are not too bad. You only need about 250,000 or so of each element to make enough singularities to do what we need to do. Because the idea will be to make the creative energy storage cell. Uh, see if it's here. It'll be make the creative ME storage cell, which we can then use to give us infinite amounts of catalysts, which then we can use to craft infinite amounts of ingots. And as well as neutronium as well. So we can make neutronium and infinite amounts of catalysts. So getting all the infinity gear will be like an extra couple minutes of crafting, nothing particularly large. So we need to make enough to. I don't even think actually we need enough to even. I think we can just whitelist it or partition it from NEI. Anyway, moving on. So in order to make the antimatter catalyst, most of the elements are not that bad. We have lots of them. I still have to put a few more on fission and a few more on fusion. I set up the fusion plants. We'll go over that in a minute. For molybdenum at least. Uh, so once we have all those elements, we'll be pretty close. However, there are a few more over here that are going to be a little bit more problematic. Nether star is fine. I had set up nether stars a long time ago. We don't have 250,000 nether stars, but we make them fast enough that I don't foresee them being a problem. So I'm kind of happy with that. Mineral salts also really won't be that big of a problem. They are 20,000 per singularity, but we make a lot of mineral salts, and probably today or tomorrow, I'll probably stop dissolving mineral salts. And I already have upgraded the drawers a bunch, and I was stockpiling mineral salts at one point in time, but I put them back up on dissolving because we burned through all the potassium for some stupid reasons. Um, but the big problem will be lapis, redstone, and nether quartz singularities here. These require 7,600 blocks, lapis blocks, which is, 9 times that in lapis. So I don't know what the math for that is. A little less than like 7,600, 76,000 lapis per singularity, or yeah, per singularity, and we need like 40 of these, I think. I think that's the math. It's like in the 40s range. So we need a lot. So I don't think the 1.5 million, the 1.5 million might be enough. I don't know. Um, but I'm continuing to run the quarries. But what we really do need is the nether quartz, unfortunately. Like the nether quartz singularity is also 7,600 blocks, and that's 4 quartz. So, it's a lot. We are looking at a lot of stuff, which is why I picked up 8 quarries. We have 4 running in the deep dark, and we have 4 running in the nether. And we've chewed up both dimensions. I stopped running them in the dimlet dimension because we don't really need dimensional shards anymore. The only drain for dimensional shards, any mass drain I should say, is realistically draconium. And now that we have the DE energy ball, we don't really have a use for that much draconium. Or at least not in the amounts where I'd have to run another quarry, because that's still like 15,000 ingots or so. And once I set up fusion, I might have some room for gadolinium. I don't really know if I mean, obviously this will take a little bit of work, but not really all that much work. So we could set up making more dimensional shards, but like we just don't really need any of this stuff. We already have lots of this stuff. So like we don't really, the only thing would be used in fusion crafting, and there's not really anything we're making in fusion crafting anymore. Because we're definitely not making the reactor. I'd rather would have my base in one piece, thanks. Um, Yeah. So I don't need to run them quarries in the dimlit dimension anymore. So I'm just running them in the deep dark and running them in the nether for quartz. So we're pretty good on that. We're going to go ahead and take a look at ore processing now, as I did make some significant upgrades to that. I finally filled it all out. The original plan here. I finally filled all of it out. The original plan was to have one side with induction furnaces and one side with pulverizers. That was because I was planning for quantum quarries at some point, and quantum quarries produce the silk touch version of like things like redstone and lapis and quartz. So I would have had pulverizers for those. But I'm not doing that in the end, and I have lots and lots of ore. Uh, oh, nice. We actually have less than we did last night. We're chewing through it pretty quickly. It looks like the stuff that we're not chewing through as fast as the stuff that's getting smelted down. Things like copper, tin, and iron are just being smelted back here. They're not being done in the induction furnace, so they're a little bit slower. And it looks like we have a problem. It's not pulling the. I think I Let's take a look. I also had to add another chest down here because we had 8 quarries with such a high throughput rate that just the one over there wasn't enough to pull it all out. It seems a little bit strange. Maybe, are you full? No. That's really weird. I'll have to come back and take a look at that, see why that's not working. It's working now. Huh. Whatever. Are you also stocked up? No, you're just out of ore. Cool. So, I think maybe some of the quarry's finished. Or maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, so we do have 8 quarries now, so we're getting plenty of resources in, which is why our thorium is going up, because we have so many quarries. And we're also, chewing through that ore super, super quickly. So I have plenty of thorium ingots. If I want to build another thorium reactor, I'm sure I could build as many as 2 more, and we could still be fine. Even if we do burn through all of that thorium, I never run another quarry and we never get any more thorium ore. That is still trillions and trillions of RF worth of production. So at a certain point, I wouldn't be, if we burned through all the thorium, we'd have enough energy stockpiled that I would not be concerned for the rest of the pack. And that also wouldn't count the products you get from, like when we burn thorium, you get depleted TBU. Let's see, and you get some various or isotopes here. And we do burn neptunium, and we do burn 233. So we burn some of those future ones. We then also have the hen fuels, which then produce more. We're not using any of these byproducts yet. We're not making HEP fuel. One of the plans is to make a HEP 241 or a highly enriched plutonium 241 fuel reactor. We have mostly 242 and not as much of the other isotopes like 241 and 239 are the ones you can make fuels out of. And we don't have too much of either of those. Um, those come from LU 235, I believe, was the one I was looking at. Um, so we have a couple of options. I was gonna make a HEU 235 reactor. I actually already have one designed. So I'll probably still, let's see, depleted. Uh, yes, 2412. This gives us 241 and 239. So we'll have to make one of these LU-233 reactors, or a bigger one, I should say. We already have one, but it's pretty small. So I'm going to want to build a bigger one of these things. Uh, and that'll get us the HEP, enough for HEP fuels, so we'll be able to build a pretty hungry HEP fuel reactor at some point. Um, and then I'm not sure if we'll go too much farther up than that, as we already have a Meraceum from the LU reactor, so we don't really need any more of those isotopes for the singularities. Like, you do need a Meraceum and plutonium, neptunium, plutonium, and a Meraceum. And we have all of those already, so we can dissolve those for those elements. Last run, I didn't do those fuels that would get us a Meraceum, so I just fused up to it from lighter elements using the alchemistry fusion plants. But that's not really necessary at this stage. So nuclear craft is fun. I like it. I don't design any of my reactors myself because fuck that noise. But I love the fuel management stuff. Over here, I guess this is a good time to talk about the fusion area. And these are all the fusion plants. We have 20 and 10 pairs. Eventually, the forest will be. I'll move the forest out beyond this, and this will be like an abandoned or like lost facility, I guess, in the jungle, which will be really cool. So obviously, I still haven't done any of the decorative work over here, and I haven't done any of the decorative work. I haven't really done any deco work at all. I'm gonna be honest. In over the last week, it's mostly about getting things functional. I set up molybdenum last night, or molybdenum last night. We needed that for some. I thought I needed that for some other stuff, DML or whatever. But it turns out maybe I didn't. I don't know. But we do have it. So, and oh, there we go. My game froze for a second. It is required for the singularities anyway, so it's not that big of a problem. Uh, let's see. So it's one of the singularities required for the antimatter catalyst, so having it on passive is good. Uh, we're also going to set up a bunch of other elements on fusion as well. Like Ogdenson has to get fused up to praseodymium, cerium, lanthanum, cesium. I believe tellurium needs to be fused up to. Yeah, we'll be fusing up to tellurium as well. Xenon, I think I'm. Nope, this will. Oh, actually, I can split this for Hassium, I think. Or I could, but I'm already kind of, as you guys can see here, all of these recipes, we have eight. Uh, we only have eight more pairs of fission plants available. I could build more, but I'm not really interested in building anymore. So these are the eight we're going to be splitting, and everything else I think I'm going to be fusing up to. Like niobium, we'll be splitting from lead. Yttrium will be splitting from platinum. Gallium from samarium. Bromine and krypton will come from lutetium. Oh, actually, so that I think that gives me actually one more. That's six, seven. So I do have one more pair actually. Duh. Vanadium will be splitting from palladium. I was originally going to split palladium from uranium last night, but I didn't realize that krypton and bromine come from the same recipe. I forgot about that. So what I actually did is I set up palladium originally comes from palm trees. You can make it through palm logs. So I set up phytogenic insulators. I didn't use another farm at all. Um, I think I'm actually going to use those farms for more beetroots as we've chewed through about 3-ish million or so over the last week over the last week by running all those quarries as we still do use Cinnabar and it's kind of slow. So we'll come back over here. Man, I really love the energy ball. I really enjoy how it all looks and how it comes together as like a centerpiece of the base. I think it looks really fantastic. I just made a bunch of beacons. We're using some ferroboron blocks over here, and it's kind of like trying to like I don't know, field stabilizers almost underneath it and stuff, keeping it in place. It kind of looks like a sun, which is why I put it in the center of the base. You know, I think it looks really cool. So coming over here, I set up an absolute monstrous amount of phytogenic insulators for palm logs, uh, just using the best fluxed phyto grow, which we get from. This is not a problem to make. We can make this from rich slag, which we have absolutely tons and tons of because of smelting all those ores. So we get a lot of this stuff. We get 18 logs per cycle, which is not very nice. So I think, oh, apparently we are making them faster than we can dissolve them. Or maybe we actually have all the palladium. Oh, we do. Nice. I thought it would take a couple of days, but I guess it just did it overnight, which is nice. So we'll split this down into vanadium, which we also need for one of the singularities. Neon will come from calcium. We don't need to split it from potassium because we can make fluorine from an atomizer because we have fluorine gas. So we'll be fine on that. Argon, we will split from uh, probably Krypton because we get two of it, so you might as well. And we're already making that. Let's see. Anything else over here? Yeah, I already talked about all that stuff. So we are going to have to fuse up to samarium for gallium. So we're fusing up to samarium, and then we'll split down because samarium is one of the other elements that we need. So if we go through all of these, like most of these are good. We like fluor. A few of these things we'll have to set up dissolvers for in the dissolving area, but most of these things are pretty much already done. We already have as much as we need. Like all this stuff, like vanadium will split down. All this stuff is fine. Cobalt will have to dissolve as well. I need to set up blue dye. I haven't done that yet. Krypton will be splitting down. Selenium we have. All of this stuff we have. Gallium we'll need to set up. Uh, Nickel I think we'll need to set up. Rubidium we have. Strontium we're going to be dissolving from redstone actually. We could split this from osmium, but I think I'm just going to dissolve it from redstone because we have lots of that stuff. So, and we are running quarries. I know we're going to have to use redstone blocks for the singularities as well. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll swap out one of these other uh, maybe the problem is vanadium doesn't really come from any other good areas. It only comes from emeralds, but emeralds don't you can't make them in DML. You can only mine them. And even we're running 8 quarries and we don't even really have that many. And so they're kind of reserved for coolers at this point. So um yeah. It's the farm area. I'm trying to think of what else I did. Um oh, I know what I did. When I had the power lockup, the power I mentioned this last week when the power went down because I was voiding all of it. This locked up, and it actually locked up a second time eventually, and I think it was because it had too many items stockpiled and it stuffed it full, and then couldn't do anything. So I tripled how many dissolvers there were, and I also reserved some dissolvers for compounds specifically. While the original setup was pretty good, I think, as in it made sure that all of the dissolvers were working, so you never had ones that were, suited for only compounds and couldn't dissolve other things. However, that did give it the chance to lock up, and because it did it twice, I just decided to just full bore it. And, you know, maybe we are slowing, it's not being 100% efficient since five of these things are only dissolving compounds, but it doesn't really matter in the end because we have even more dissolvers that are dissolving raw items now than before. So that's fixed. All of this stuff is good. I also started having crystal glass dissolved on just on passive. So we consume all the strange sand. I assume I picked up like a few thousand last night, and I assume it's all gone. Yeah, it is. You need a crystal glass for Astantine. Thankfully, this is not one of the elements you need for singularities, but you do need it for asinine, whatever. Um, which this is used in making blank data models. I was planning to make some more data models last night because I was worried about sulfur and blaze powder, blaze rods specifically. One of the things about massively upgrading our ore production or ore processing was a massively increased demand on our blazing pyrotheum. As in, when I got on last night to play, we were completely out because we only ever had originally one magma crucible running, uh, melting down pyrotheum dust for blazing pyrotheum as we do use it in ore processing, and it was way too slow. So I added four more over here. And it looks like we're pretty good on blazing pyrotheum now. We are making it faster than we consume it, which is good. However, it also meant that we had a massively increased demand on, where are you? Here you are. Blaze powder and sulfur. So as you can see, we're already consuming blaze powder faster than it'll dump it in there, but I'm not really concerned, obviously, because we have enough blazing pyrotheum. So over here, we kind of were chewing through all of, yeah, I can see we used all of the pristine matter from blazes, so we need some more. It looks like we're kind of okay on sulfur at this point. It probably fixed itself last night over time, just as even the without having a stockpile, it was still faster than it was being consumed. So I was thinking about adding a few more Blaze models last night, but it looks like I won't have to. I still might just to make myself feel better. That's why last night I set up palladium and molybdenum and astantine was specifically so I could start making a bunch of data models and more loot fabricators and simulators. And it turns out I didn't need to do any of that. Well, at least for that reason. Obviously, molybdenum and palladium are still needed for later on, so it's not wasted infrastructure. I just needed to set it up last night for the reason that I was looking at. um, but that's all right. Like I said, we'll need it later. I still haven't done any work on the fishing area. It's a very large project that I'm gonna have to do, and I'm not really sure about how I want to do it yet. And like I said before, I don't really want to build more fishing plants, but I might have to. I don't know if we need any more. I might just stick another pair on the very end. And then I'd have to. I still have plenty of room over here for more maps too. I have a couple more blocks, so I wouldn't even run out of that. So I could move all these back and add a few more pairs, which I might end up doing. I don't know. We'll have to see how it turns out later over the next couple of weeks. But so we are in the end game now, sort of finishing up working towards the antimatter catalysts which is really, really fun. I'm really excited to. As much as I've been really enjoying this pack, and this base is by far my favorite, I'll be happy to move on to do a new pack. I always enjoy my bases. I always have a lot of fun in every pack, but after a certain point, it'll all be really fun to start again, build something new with a new style, new challenges, new automations to do. There's always lots of fun. I have fun in all stages of modern Minecraft, everything from early game to late game. They're always unique in how they play. Early game is always about resource management and time management as well. Doing what you can with what you have. And then late game is about throwing resources and power at the problem, which is a different kind of fun. It's about building lots of mass systems, which is really cool. And like I mentioned over here, we added a few more dissolver pillars. over the last couple of days over the week. I think I added Mendelevium last week, but I don't remember if that was the week before. But I did add Palladium as well. So we have Palladium over here, and like I said, it's done, which is nice. Uh, so I think, let's see, have I done anything else? I don't really think so. That might be more or less it, I think. Uh, yeah, that is it. So I know I'm actually really happy that I've gotten a lot of stuff done this week. I don't know how that will continue in the weeks going forward. Like I said, I still am writing my book. It's about up to 80,000 words, I think, at this point. Um, it's gonna be written as a web serial, obviously. Oh, I guess I should mention that this is the end of the craft section of the video. So if you're here for just the craft, um, thanks for watching. I hope you had a good week. I hope you have a good upcoming week, and I'll see you all again next week. But for those who would like to stick around to hear me ramble about other completely unrelated topics, because I feel like talking about stuff, I know it's been 25 minutes, but I just like talking to, I guess it's sort of you guys, but it's also just sort of my computer monitor, which is really funny. But yeah, so my book's coming along pretty good. I'm still in the editing phase now. I was in the writing phase, so now I can take things a tiny, tiny bit slower, I think, because it's not the Rhyme mode challenge. I did complete it, by the way. It was I mentioned that last week, actually, but it was a lot of fun. But I have lots of stuff to fix. Lots of early sections I have to rewrite as I figured out things as I was going. I'm sort of a pants writer. I like to pants things, so means by writing by the seat of your pants. I don't really do a lot of planning, or I don't do really any planning in advance, which kind of bit me in the ass very early on as I was still kind of figuring out how I wanted to do things. Work. I was just, getting as many words down as possible, and some of those ideas that I had originally in the heat of the moment really weren't that great. They turned out to be kind of bad, as well as decisions that I made in the moment also turned like things that I often made decisions for things that I thought were more sensible, things that were not necessarily realistic is the term that I'm using, but things that made sense to me and how they would be done wasn't really a great idea in the end. Sometimes you have to toss aside sensibility for things that are satisfying, and that's what I have to go back and change as well. I actually, this is one of the reasons why this video is a little bit later in the day is because I uh, I can mention this writing this morning was a little bit strange. I got up way early, way later than I really wanted to, and I was super tired. And I got on and I started writing and doing some editing and stuff. And I went, hey, today's Friday. I haven't posted a video yet. I need to go do that. So I'm doing that right now. Um, but I mentioned that it'll be written as a web serial, which means I'll be writing it as it's getting posted and stuff, which is kind of fun. I do want to get my stuff out there. I'm having a lot of fun writing it, and the people I've been sharing it with seem to really enjoy it so far, which is uh, a great ego boost. It's very nice. Um, so that'll be fun to do. I'm still looking forward to that. Um, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, which is why I've been playing less Minecraft over this last couple of weeks, and really month and a half at this point. It is what it is. I'm trying to do this as sort of, I guess a day job. I'm sort of making this a job at this point. Because the job market is so bad and no one's really hiring new grads like me, it's kind of rough out here. So, I'm trying to spend something with my time in a way, a term of responsibilities, I guess, or uh, I guess effort. I don't know. I'm trying to do something that I would treat as a job that would require that amount of responsibility and discipline. And so far, writing the book has been that for me, which is why I've been playing fewer video games. Oh, speaking of video games, I don't know if you guys have played the Battlefield 6 beta. I have early access and I was playing yesterday, and holy shit, it's so good. We are so back. I don't agree with every decision they've made in that game. I don't. It's not perfect by any means, but I still think it's legitimately a really good first person shooter. And this isn't in like the vein of like it's 2025 and we have no good first person shooters. I think it's legitimately a good first person shooter by any metric. It's not perfect. There are some bugs and there are some things they need to fix. Shotguns are super mega overpowered and one shot you at pretty much almost any range. If you get like a even a half decent shot on somebody. Um, and I feel like that in some instances TTK is really really low, and some of the maps require some work, especially on Breakthrough. On Breakthrough, some of the maps really do require some work. But I still think by and large it is a really good shooter, and I won't be pre-ordering it because you never pre-order anything. But I will be buying this on launch, and my friends and I will definitely be playing it for years to come at this point, unless they like burn the game down over the next 2 months when it comes out in October. Uh, which I don't see why they would because it's really good. So we'll see. But we will be playing hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours into that thing. So that's gonna be good. So I think that's probably enough ramblings. I know that, I mean, obviously I've been kind of talking, I haven't even talked about craft for like 5 or 6 minutes at this point. Um, so I'll go ahead and let you guys, hope you guys have had a good week. I hope you guys have a good upcoming week, and I'll see you all again next week.